Now, our next guest has described herself as Queensland's biggest Class A drug supplier after graduating with a medical degree from Dundee University. Helping addicts in an Australian prison might not be the first place you'd think you'd end up, but for Dumfries-born Dr Emma Knighton, then that's exactly where life has taken her. She now supports inmates there through medicine and psychology. Emma is with us now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Lovely to speak to you. So what took you to Australia, first of all?
I'm going to blame my husband for that one.
Okay.
As a family, we joined Mission Aviation Fellowship, which is a flying charity that basically is in developing countries. And we applied to originally go to Arnhem Land, which is in the Northern Territories of Australia. And due to my husband being a flight instructor, they actually asked us to go to Papua New Guinea. And so after a small period of thought and reflection, we decided that, we'd love to go to Papua New Guinea. And then they asked us to go to this small rural town in Australia for a year. And we said, sure, no worries. 4.5 years later, we're still there. I'm finding my way while my husband is setting up a flight instruction for Papua New Guinean nationals.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about your job then at the moment.
So I went from being a consultant anaesthetist in the UK to doing a very junior doctor's role in this small rural hospital. And essentially the first day I got there, they said, oh, by the way, you work as a GP in a prison. I said, oh, great. I've never worked as a GP or been in a prison. How exciting. But I can do anything for a year. So yeah, sure, why not? And that was kind of what I did, is I just sort of, every time they asked me to do something, I said, yeah, sure. Yeah. Go on then. I'm only here for a little while. It's lots to learn, learning about tropical medicine, wherever you are, will be really useful.
Well, I suppose, that's something you wouldn't have come across here.
No, I thought all of it was going to be really useful for if the plan was still to go to Papua New Guinea, and I was like, well, this would be really helpful medicine for me to learn, and I'll need to be able to deal with all these things. And working in a prison, it was just okay.
And just, in terms of the drug therapy, because, we have this debate in Scotland all the time as well. I mean, you supply the drugs, you administer the drugs. Is it with the intention, though, of helping to gradually wean the inmates off them? Or are they used as a substitute in the way that methadone is here? What is the policy?
It's very similar to our methadone programme. We just happen to use a slightly different drug. Although I did do the training and I am allowed to prescribe methadone, it's just in that prison we use a different medication called Suboxone, and it's just the idea being is essentially it's a harm minimisation model. So unfortunately within the prison that I work in, they don't have a needle exchange programme, and so people will use drugs. That's the bottom line, is that 70% of people that are arrested by police use illicit drug substances, and so that then carries through to if they then end up in prison. And it's for me, it's actually been a real having to change my own attitude to this, very much, or just say, no, that's the answer. But it's clearly untrue. And this is actually about minimisation. So people that request to join the programme, it's a you request to, come along the programme. Their reasons behind it are all totally different. So some of them, it's actually a case of, I don't want to catch hepatitis in prison or HIV in prison. So therefore they take the medication, they no longer have cravings, they don't tend to use on top of that. If they do, it becomes a bit useless because of how the drug works. And so actually they leave prison not having picked up an infectious disease which could impact their life.
Still with the habit.
Still with the habit. We would like them to stay on the programme on the outside and continue to basically seek cognitive behavioural therapies so that they can learn to manage their addiction not on medication. Because if you speak to reformed drug addicts, the majority of them, abstinence is key. Yeah, but the people that have got to the point of being in prison, they're not at that point. The abstinence is really an option. If you think about your entire life and your span on drug addiction, you're not going to get to that point when you're already just in prison and everything else has been removed. So the long-term plan, yes, is that people wean themselves off this medication, they get back to having a job and engaging in society. But it's the expectation is really they would need to be on the programme for over a year for that to be successful.
Okay, well, thank you very much for talking to us. What an interesting, if unexpected, line of work you found yourself in. Thanks very much.